a huge amount of dealing with arthritis, cooking for it, and that is trying to figure out what works for yourself. Peanuts, for a lot of people, obviously with allergies, or even a lot of other people, they may start an inflammatory response, as could any food. So you just have to learn what works for you. All the cooking I'm doing here is what works for me. I've explored things. It may or may not be good, but having said that, the big one for all of us is to try avoid ultra-processed foods, things that are just en masse made. They're going to be using cheaper ingredients and things that are, you know, invariably going to be poor. I think every dietitian, every doctor will be pretty unanimous in that. Excess is one of the biggest problems, but we do need the treats. So simple little cookie here, really easy to make, kind of a shortbread inspired type of thing. Very, very simple. Equal amount of almond flour, peanut flour, and using a drop of coconut oil here as well. What I'm going to do is, I've got the quantities up, but I'm going to, into my coconut oil, which I've warmed, it's a lovely pure oil, but I'm going to add a little bit of honey into that when it's still warm. It's just about a tablespoon. It's just the honey will melt into the oil a little bit better, and then mix into the whole mix a lot easier. You could use maple syrup, you could use whatever you want. Very, very simple thing. This, I'm going to add my almond flour into a nice big bowl. Add my peanuts, peanut butter. Now, when you're buying peanut butter, always just look for one that says 100% peanut. Ironically, in the shop I bought it, the cheapest one was the 100% peanut, and the most expensive one was the one with the additive V kind of stuff, like vegetable oils going into it, and you're kind of wondering, but it's peanut butter, why do you need that? I'm going to crack an egg into this. Just a wee pinch of salt. No need to add the salt if your peanut butter contains salt, but again, it should be just 100% peanut butter. And then I'm going to put my little honey and coconut oil in here, just to kind of richen up the whole thing. And again, these are treats. They're not something that you sit down. It's just better to know what you're eating. I'm a true believer in that. So rather than buying a packet of biscuits and, you know, you don't really know what you're getting. So anyhow, just very, very simply mix all this together until you get a nice dough. The great thing with peanuts is they contain enough oils as well. You could almost make this with just the almonds and the peanuts, and you'd probably get a pretty decent biscuit. But the other thing is just kind of rich it up a little, kind of get that nice kind of shortbready kind of feel to it. And very quickly you'll just mix it into a nice little dough that's quite workable with. Nice little biscuit dough. And it's really this easy. As I'm making these, I've preheated my oven to about 180 degrees. These should only take about 10 minutes to cook. At the upper level, 15 minutes. And you get a nice crumbly little kind of a dough here. Very easy to work with. And then all you need to do with that is roll out little cookies. And then you can just get a fork or something like that, just kind of flatten it down. A nice little way of doing it is squashing down one side with the fork and then the other side, and you get a nice little kind of a design on them. So you just continue on like that until you use up all your mix. So as I was saying, just to squash these little guys down, just after rolling into a little ball shape, and then just get a fork and that little crisscrossy kind of effect. It's quite nice on them. You could let these rest for a minute in the fridge as well. But I'm just going to pop them straight in the oven, because when it comes to patisserie and baking, I'm a disaster. But I do my best. So there's our little cookies, all ready for the oven. And so I'm going to bake those, keeping an eye on them. I would say about 12 to 15 minutes, thereabouts, 180 degrees. And there we have them, our little peanut almond cookies. So, just allow them to cool down fully. They're just out of the oven now. And they'll harden up nicely and should store well in an airtight container for about a week. No problem at all.